If you are still broke as a music creator, no, it's not the music industry. It's not that everything's too saturated. And it's not that you don't have the right connection. There's really one reason. And once you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it. Nobody tells you this. This video really might sting a little, but if you actually want music to pay you, not as someday a huge dream, not hypothetically, this is the conversation that nobody else is having. So there's some clear lies that are told over and over again. You're probably told just focus on making better music, or that you just need to figure out how to get more streams, or that if you're good enough, it'll all work out. That advice sounds pure, but it's actually keeping you broke because quality alone isn't a business model. Here's the reason. Even the first 3 years of my journey, I stayed broke even though I was working extremely hard. And now that I'm actually full-time from audio related income streams, I made one change and that changed everything. The real problem is that you're acting like a hobbyist while hoping for professional results. You create music endlessly, but you don't actually have a clear system to deliver it the right way. You improve all these different skills, but you never actually package them to make income. You chase things like fans, audience, and exposure, but then you don't work on the actual offer that's gonna get that traffic to solve their problems and ultimately get your product or service. So there's really 3 behaviors that, again, even I did. I make these videos from a place where I made all these mistakes first, and that's actually how I learned. So number 1 is that activity does not equal progress. So things like business and music, it doesn't work like a job. At a job, you show up for 8 hours, that's the activity or the action that you're taking, and you get paid for X amount of hours. But unfortunately in music and business, it doesn't work that way. So just posting something random or uploading some random song without any strategy isn't actually gonna lead to a lot of progress. So what you actually wanna think about, the way to solve this, is think about strategy. So every action I take needs to somehow lead to progress. So there's a lot of things I can do that sound really good to do, but if I can't explain how that's actually gonna progress me towards whatever my current goal is. So let's say I'm at the stage of my business where I'm trying to build a sample pack. So obviously the activity that's gonna lead to progress is actually creating the sample pack, whatever I'm putting in the pack. But let's say, you know what, today I'm gonna go network, try to get more connections, and I'm just gonna talk to a bunch of people. Well, that's not actually leading to any progress. Even though I'm taking a lot of action, I don't even have the product yet. And so it's not even gonna lead to any progress. So don't just think of doing busy work. Think about actually having a long-term strategy for every single action and how can this action lead to my goal. The next mistake is not choosing a lane. So nowadays, we're actually having the exact opposite problem that past generations had. We have almost infinite opportunities. If I build a music production skill, I have the opportunity to work in a studio, mix and master, film scoring, beat making, education, releasing songs and trying to be an artist. You know, that list is almost infinite. And again, this is a mistake I made in the very beginning, is I tried to do everything and just see what worked out. But I learned the hard way that money follows clarity. If no one knows what you do, no one knows exactly what value you bring and why they should pay you. So for example, you know, in 2022, I was trying to do everything. I was doing beat leasing, sample packs, photography, videography, mixing and mastering, trying to release content. And at the end of the day, the problem was my focus was split so thin that I didn't meet the minimum threshold of skill for it to actually work. And even the people I was meeting, they're confused about what exactly I do, what value can I actually bring them and what problem can I solve. So if you really think about it, think about another person that's focusing all their energy into one thing. And then think about yourself that's not choosing a lane and just doing everything. They're obviously gonna make a lot more progress in that one thing and you're not even gonna be able to catch up. So let's say you're trying to work 12 hours a day on this, but that is split into 10 different things. Now you're only spending maybe like 1 hour on each thing. And at the end of the day, no one cares how long you worked. They just look at that one thing and say, well, it looks like he spent about an hour a day on this. But if you just choose a lane, all that time is gonna go into one thing. It's gonna be a lot easier to win. Next is validation. This is basically where you're trying to wait for results instead of actually doing what's necessary to get those results. So waiting actually keeps you safe. If you're like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of try this income stream, but not really. When you don't get results, now you can just say, oh, well, I wasn't really trying that hard. But at the end of the day, it takes what it takes. So the creators that actually make an income from what they're trying to do, we're not smarter or louder or anything like that. We just know specifically who we help, what problem we want to solve, and exactly what we want to sell. And then we repeat it until it works. So the key shift here is not to ask specifically what goal do I want, what activities do I want to do. It's to ask how can I actually bring value to a specific person? And what do I actually need to do that? Really think about how to fully deliver that value. A lot of times you're not gonna be able to do 20 things. Regardless of whether you're making money or not, or what skills you think you have, treat it like a career. Don't just say, oh, I'm not making money, so it's just a passion project. that's just gonna keep you stuck. And if you treat it like a passion project or like a hobby, it's gonna stay exactly that. But if you actually do what it takes, the activities it takes, you commit to it, that's how you actually are gonna build a career and make the income you want. So what can you actually do? Again, I like to think in action steps. First, you can commit to exactly what you want. Figure out the exact activities that you need to do to achieve that goal and cut everything else off. Don't wait for some validation or don't wait for permission. Don't wait for people to tell you, oh, this is definitely gonna work. Don't wait to try to take it seriously. Just do what's actually necessary for the very beginning. And finally, think of the actual value and problem that you're solving instead of just your goal. If you want real help growing your music skills and actually turning it into real income, I offer all the tools and information that you really need. I offer all the tools as well as a system that, if executed correctly, can even make you a full-time income. So make sure you check that out down below. But for now, if you want more free value, make sure you watch this video next. I'll see you there.